Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Karen Jones here, pointofview.me.com. A pleasure to be here with you today. It is a beautiful day in Korea. The sun is shining and the temperature is very warm in comparison to what it was last week when I spoke to you. My weekly Yummy Money webinar, number 13, I can't believe it. Time is just flying by. Today's class, today's webinar will be absolutely exhilarating, I promise. So stick around and check it out. I'm very, very happy to have a special guest with us today, Mr. Nate Kent. Nate, say hello.
All right, hi everybody. I'm very happy to be here as well. And she's right, it is way warmer than last week. It's so nice. It's gorgeous down here. So I'm excited to be here. It's number 13, so I made the top 20.
Yes, absolutely. And once again, we will be reading from this amazing book, Money Isn't the Problem, You Are, by Gary Douglas and Dr. Dain here. Here they are, the handsome boys. And it has been quite a thrill. I've had so many wonderful guests, and I'm very happy to have Nate with us. Nate has been a practitioner of Access and using the Access tools. I would say a Accesian, as a friend of mine calls us.
Accesian.
Accesians.
I've not heard that.
Yeah. Instead of accessories. I know a lot of people call it accessories. But
I don't like that as much though.
No?
Accesian I think I like better.
Yeah, Accesian is cool. It sounds like we're from a really cool planet. Anyway. Right. So, yeah, our chapters we will be discussing, you'll soon find out. I do want to jump right in and get reading so that we can have a nice, lively discussion. If you would all like to take notes, or if you have any questions, you can jump and join my group, my weekly Yummy Money webinar on Facebook. If you have any questions, I can answer those questions for you right away in actual time. So let's get started. We're going to read. And Nate, oh, by the way, Nate lives here in Korea. He's been, how many years have you been here, Nate?
Oh, man. 12?
12 years. He is happily married to Mira, who is a lovely Korean teacher as well. And Nate is a professor at university here in Korea. And yeah, that's his day job.
Yeah, right. So I have that. I also have a radio show on the radio station down here. And I also do the occasional, whatever shows up, really.
Right. He also does teach us some access classes here and there.
Yeah, I do that as well, and do some body work. So yeah,
this guy is a wizard, ladies and gentlemen. If you'd like to get in touch with him, you can find him on Google Plus, or Nate, if you'd like to leave your email address if people want to contact you if they're in Korea and want to get some of your amazing hands and healing done.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Facebook, Nate Kent, or email address is nhkent@gmail.
Fantastico. Okay, so let's open this magic book that we've got here. I'm going to screen share if everything works properly, because we've had some interesting adventures today.
Yes.
Okay. And okay, yep, it's coming, and okay.
Bam.
It looks like it's backwards. How did that happen?
Oh, it's good for me.
It looks good to you?
Yeah, it looks good for me.
Okay, great. Because I usually have to push another button, but I didn't have to today. So you can see the screen that I can read?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, here we go. Give and take versus gifting and receiving. This world is pretty much based on the practice of give and take. It's a point of view that says, I give you this, you give me that. It's an exchange modality we're all stuck in. If I give you oral sex, then you feel obligated to give me oral sex. It's an exchange. I do this, now you must do that. I love how he puts in oral sex there. It's like, oh, bam, okay, yes, welcome to my Yummy Money webinar. Okay, so with gifting, on the other hand, there is no separate exchange that occurs. You give without expectation of return. And as a result, you simultaneously receive without limit. The gifting is the receiving, and the receiving is the gifting, all at the same time. With gifting and receiving, you have the elements that allow you to truly have a sense of communion with all things. When you go out in nature, for example, does it gift to you? Does it expect anything in return? Nature gifts everything it has at all times, and it simultaneously receives from everything. The fruit trees create the fruit and gift to you totally. Do they hold any of it back? I don't think so. Hello, I mean, I've never seen a flower say, oh no, I'm not going to show you my beauty today. Or I've never had a fruit tree that says, oh no, you can't have my fruit. I don't think so. So when you have a flower bed full of beautiful flowers, they gift to you their fragrance and their beauty, and they ask nothing in return. What they receive from you is the energy you give them and the gratitude you have for their beauty. Rather than gifting and receiving, most of us live in the world of give and take. We say, I'm going to give you this, but I expect something in return. We give a gift with the idea we're going to get something back. How many times when you're given something do you know the giver expects you to do, give, contribute, or function in some way for them? Most of the time, yes, that's right. If you give this, then you must give me that. It's give and take. Okay, so when you live in the give and take world, or the matrix, as I like to call it, you eliminate gifting. This is a terrible mistake. Because when you gift to somebody, truly gift to them, you simultaneously receive abundantly, beyond anything you can imagine. If you truly gift without expectation, then you receive abundantly in all respects. But for the most part, on this planet, we give only when we are obligated to do so. What we have at work is the give and take reality of exchange, not abundance. I mean, we've all given a gift where you give a gift and you just feel so amazingly good because you know that that person it really needs that thing, or really will use what you gave them, and then it will expand their universe. I mean, it's like you feel so good. That is that receiving feeling. I mean, everybody has been there, right? All right, so what would it be like, I'm reading again, in your world if you had the generosity of spirit that allowed you to give without ever expecting anything in return? Wouldn't that be wonderful? Why don't you allow that to come into your life? Maybe it's because you don't expect people to receive what you give them, and they don't. People who cannot receive, I'm sure we've met a few people like this, people who cannot receive what you give return your gift to you with a couple of daggers attached. They have to show you how much they didn't like it because they were unable to receive it in the first place. A woman told me about her father. She tried to tell him how much she cared about him, and he answered, yes, yes, darling, okay. He couldn't receive it. When you try to give to somebody who can't receive what you're saying or what you're gifting, they will always negate it. Why is that? They don't believe that it's okay to receive. Now, a lot of you are saying, well, what are you talking about? Well, you know, a lot of people have problems receiving because they were raised to believe that it's better to give than to receive. How many of you have had that point of view pushed down your throat? Yeah, because usually you get that idea from churches who are trying to get your money. Oh, did I say that out loud? I didn't mean to. I mean, not all churches are bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that. But it is an idea that is prevalent in our society. You know, it's better to give than to receive. What if that was a mistranslation? Yeah, let's talk about that later. So people who give too much. Some people give and give and give, thinking others will be happy with them for giving so much. Is this gifting? No, because it's expecting a return. Does it work? Does the other person get happy with them? No. Usually they say, oh, I'll take more of that and more of that. And what else do you have? I'll take that too. Have you ever done the give too much routine? Do you give your children too much? Are they grateful for what you give them? With my kids, it seems the more I give them, the more they take. Children, as my friend Mary says, will take your last breath and never say thank you. They expect you to give to them all the time, and they'll always take from you. They don't see that there needs to be an honoring of the gift. They don't consider what you give them to be a gift. They think whatever you give is due them. Whenever you're giving to somebody who feels entitled to receive, or who thinks you should give because you've got the money or because you can, it's not very clean. There will be no real joy in your giving or in the receipt of it. If you have a friend who doesn't have enough, you might try to give to him in order to help him. And then pretty soon you might find you are giving to him all the time and there's no end to it. This is what happens when you're on the give and take program. Is it possible in doing all this giving that you believe you really shouldn't receive? Is it possible that you feel you must always give but never receive? I mean, just feel the energy of that, people. It's like having these invisible barriers all around your body. It's like these invisible walls, and people try to come to you with something, and you have these barriers and you can't receive it. And you wonder why you can't make more money than you're making, and you wonder why you don't have more material things that you'd like to have, and you wonder why you're not receiving on many levels, not just material things, even maybe in love or in a better position in life. Think about it. So I'm going to tell you right now, push those barriers down. Say barriers down, barriers down. That's right. It's that simple. Some people give in order to make others feel less than. We know a woman who was giving hugely expensive gifts to people all the time. One of her friends who was troubled by this said to me, I can't give her anything in return because I can't equal the amount of money she has spent on me. We talked about this for a while, and she realized her friend's giving was a way of pushing other people away, so that even as we're receiving more, they would feel less than. Isn't that interesting? Give and take and gifting and receiving occur in relationships of every kind. If you're in a relationship where you think you have to give 150%, you usually end up with someone who is willing to take 150%. You do not get someone who gives as much as you do. But when you are truly gifting and receiving in relationship, the person gifts to you and receives simultaneously as a result. You gift to them and you receive simultaneously. Now, isn't that a beautiful thing? So do you live in the ledger and balance sheet world of give and take? Can't you just see that? I mean, that's a great image. Often when people have been kept from having things, they develop a point of view which says, this is mine and I know how much I have, and you'd better not try and take one of my nuts, damn it, said the squirrel. They live in the ledger and balance sheet world of give and take. Do you know people who have to keep the accounts balanced? They say things like, the bill is $37.50. If we divide it, that's $18.75 each. Okay, you owe me $18.75. This is my food. Don't eat my avocados. The end result of this kind of thinking is that they have no abundance. You cannot live in the ledger and balance sheet world and believe in the abundance of your life. What would happen if you took a completely different point of view? You want it? Take it. When you get rid of the idea, I've got to get my share, you can experience the abundance of the universe. If you're totally abundant, do you care if your roommate eats the avocado you thought was yours? If you're an unlimited being with unlimited resources, with unlimited possibility, how can you ever be taken from? I'm going to read that again. If you are an unlimited being with unlimited resources, with unlimited possibility, how can you ever be taken from? Really? Can you ever truly overgift? The universe is endlessly abundant. One of the ways I changed my own point of view about gifting and receiving was to practice giving without expectation. A friend and I went to a restaurant one time. I ordered a cup of coffee and a donut, and my friend ordered a cup of tea. Our waitress was about 45 years old. First, she brought my friend a spoon. Then she went back and got me a spoon. Then she brought me the cup of coffee. Then she went back and she got the tea, then the cream, and then the donut. I'm exhausted just telling the story. I asked, are you having a tough day? She got teary-eyed and said, I've never worked before. This is my first job. This is the first job I've ever had. I don't know how to do this. I'm overwhelmed. I said, don't worry. It'll get better. You'll get used to it. She said, thank you. That's very kind. She brought us the bill and it was $5.12. I left her $10.12. As we were walking out of the door, she came running after, sir, you gave me too much money. I said, no, I didn't. That's a tip. It's to let you know you're doing okay. You could see the beams in her universe. I love that story. Another time I was walking in New York on my way to lunch, and there was a young guy sitting on the street with a big open cut on his leg and a tin can in front of him. No one was putting any money into it. On my way back from lunch, without looking at him, I stuck a $20 bill in the can, and he went, "Thank you, sir. Oh my God, bless you, thank you." I could feel the energy radiating out of him because someone had seen and acknowledged and gifted to him without any expectation. Not a quarter, not a nickel, not, okay, you're a little bum, but enough that he could actually afford a good meal. If you do those sorts of things, you break down the idea that there's no abundance in the world. You have to do it. You have to make it happen. When I was moving out of my house after my divorce, I had a bunch of antiques I was going to sell, but instead of doing that, I gave them to my friend, the antique dealer, who had more money than I did. I gave all my antiques to him, and it confused the hell out of him. He can understand why I would gift to him because he had more than I did. His point of view was you have to gift to someone who has less than you. That's a concept you have to get over. Everybody hear that? When people who have lots of money go out with people who have less, those with less money usually expect those with more to pay. When I go out to dinner with people who have lots of money, I always make it a point to pay. They don't know what to do with that. I'm not less than they are anymore. You can play with this too. Pick up the check once in a while. See what happens. Now, the purpose of life is to have fun. And maybe the purpose of money is to bust people's paradigms. What you're really doing, though, is living from the idea that the universe is endlessly abundant. And when you function from that, everything in life gets better, right? Okay, so before we go into the phrase, did everybody watch, everybody saw the screen on that? Yeah? Read along?
I did.
Great. Okay. So I hope everybody else did too. But anyway, it was a good read. I wanted to stop it there because, you know, I wanted to say about the translation, mistranslation of "tis better to give than it is to receive," right? That was the original Bible quote, I think, that a lot of people have used. So what if that was a mistranslation? And what if the real translation is "'tis as good to give as it is to receive," right? You have to be willing to receive. Plants have to receive water, right? They have to receive sunlight. We have to be willing to receive as well as to be the bounty that we fully are. So this whole give and take thing, I have an exercise, Nate, you don't know about this one, but I have this exercise that I tell people to do, and it's a really cool one that I got from this really tiny little book that this lady wrote. And it's basically you take like $5 or $10 or $20, whatever amount you want that you have, and you take like $1. I usually take like $1 whenever I go to the grocery store, which is several times a week. And I'll take $1 and I'll stick it in places in the grocery store. So like I'll stick it behind a piece of fruit, or I'll stick it like in a box. Or if I'm feeling really abundant, I'll take a full $5 and I'll hide it behind gum so that people find the money. Right? So it's a great idea to remind people that there is abundance in the universe. And it also lets the universe know that I have so much money that I can just leave money for people to find. I mean, you can do it when you go shopping, like clothes shopping, sticking a pair of pants in a pocket, you know, because it's always so cool when you find money, right? Isn't it?
Yeah. That's a really good idea. I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah, cool. Cool.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's awesome. It's I say it at the end in every one of my webinars to remind people that, you know, when you start doing that, it creates a flow. So the universe is like, oh, you like having money. You want more money so that you can share it with more people. Very cool idea.
Yeah, it seems like it's kind of along the same lines as carrying a lot of money in your wallet. So just like I am abundant. I have a lot of money. And, you know, you're saying I have so much money that I can just leave it at the coffee shop in the magazine for the next person. So
exactly. And then I always think of the person, because it's anonymous. So you're not expecting anything in return. Once again, the same concept that we just read. And then on the other hand, you have this feeling of gifting. And that feeling of gifting is such a powerful thing. Because it's a gift. It's not the give and take. Okay, I give you this, you give me that. No, it's like, okay, universe, let's spread the joy. I always think of Hello Dolly. You know, it's like right. It's like manure. You gotta spread it around so that everything can grow.
When you were talking about the gifting and receiving, I was thinking about situations where it's not give and take. And so I'm gifting someone, but also during the gifting or while I'm gifting, it's also a receiving from simply them receiving me. Like it's a very synchronous, like the synchronicity of gifting and receiving. Like for me, like when I do body work on someone, they think they're receiving from me, and I am gifting them, but it's also they're at the same time gifting me with their receiving of me. Like
Yes.
it's really hard to explain that, I guess, but it's sort of like in the gifting is also the receiving, because there's no sense of obligation, there's no sense of like owing someone, or the ledgers thing of like you know, I gave you this much, you have to give me this much. It's much more just like a receiving, and in that is also the gifting, and the other way around.
Exactly. It is the flow. It is the beautiful flow. It's like oneness. You know, they talk about oneness and how we're all interrelated, and there's no, it's like the continual connection of flowing of energy.
Yeah.
I totally get what you're saying. Absolutely.
It's also such a gift when you take yourself out of that. I guess like at the start of the book, he talks about oral sex, and I think that a lot of people do that from the give and take, and like, oh well, I gave you last time, so you have to give me this time. But if you just either gift it or receive it without any sense of obligation or expectation at all, then it actually takes a load off. Like it's you're not keeping track of it anymore. You're just gifting it or receiving it, and then like it's done and you move on.
Right, exactly. So instead of feeling, you know, and then, you know, there's such, like you were just saying, in the gifting and receiving, there's such a power. And when you give something and it's so well received, and you're receiving while you're gifting it, because you know that person is really receiving it, and you're gifted that as well. So you can, okay, great. I know you're exhausted. Let's just go to sleep. You don't have to, you know, you don't have to do it to me too.
Yeah. And like you said, leaving money different places, like it is gifting from you, but also the fun that you have from doing that is also you're receiving in that as well. So it, you know, when you do something from the genuine gifting, there's also the receiving comes just naturally as part of that. I don't think it's possible to gift without receiving. Like, well,
you know, I think all of us have had the opportunity to gift to someone and watch their reaction when they open it, or open the gift, or when they get the envelope, or, you know, and there's just this sheer pleasure of watching them receive, and then you receive in turn. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. Okay, so let's get to the, sorry. Okay. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was going to talk about paying for dinner. Paying for dinner for people that have more than you. That's just fun to do anyway.
Yes, yes. That's like, talk about like blowing their minds. I love that. Yeah. Love that. Okay, so let's get to the meaty conversation. This is a conversation that a lot of people get a little bit uptight about. So let's stir the pot a little bit and talk and get right to it. So we're going to go to the next session, which you know, the whole title of this webinar was what kind of human are you, right?
Yeah. And
a lot of people, I'm sure, are wondering, okay, so what does that mean? What are they talking about? Okay, so here we go. Human or humanoid, which are you? One of the more unexpected things we've discovered in our work with Access is the awareness that there appear to be two species of beings on planet Earth, humans and humanoids. Okay, hold on to your hats, folks. Before you change the station, pay attention. We could be talking about you. Okay, so humans live in judgment of everybody else and think that life is just the way it is and nothing is ever right. They don't even bother to think about another possibility. Sounds like anybody you know? Humanoids, on the other hand, look for ways to make things better. If you invent things, if you search out things, if you're always looking for a better, bigger way of creating something, you are a humanoid, not a human. Humanoids are the people who create change. They create the inventions, the music, and the poetry. They create all the things that come out of a lack of satisfaction with the status quo. Now, does that sound familiar? Does that sound like you're looking into a mirror, ladies and gentlemen? Well, if you just get a TV, for humanoids, it is a great relief to know that we are always judged and we never fit in. We try so hard, but we can't make ourselves fit into the mold, the human mold. Most of us are desperately seek to understand and fit into the human reality of money and everything else. People tell us, well, if you just get a TV and a new car and a regular job, you'd be fine. The idea of bringing up the differences between humans and humanoids is not about sitting in judgment of humans. It's about becoming aware of how we humanoids judge ourselves. Okay, everybody get that? This whole conversation is not brought up to judge humans. Okay, it has nothing to do with them. Who cares? It is about how we are to acknowledge and stop judging ourselves. Because we humanoids, oh my God, we're the first ones to like immediately, you know, tear ourselves apart, judging ourselves, okay? We want to get out of that. Let's stop that. Humanoids judge themselves. One of the most important things to know about humanoids is they sit in judgment of themselves. Humanoids think there's something wrong with themselves because they're not like everyone else around them. They ask themselves, what's wrong with me that I can't get it right? Why can't I be like this other person? Why can't I be satisfied with less? What's wrong with me? They go into serious amounts of judgments of themselves. Does this sound like you? If it sounds like you, please continue to listen. They wonder why they can't get what everyone else gets and do what everybody else does. When somebody lies to a humanoid or does something wrong to them, humanoids twist it around and look for what they've done wrong. They make themselves wrong and the other person right. A humanoid friend of mine had been in a business relationship with a partner for a long time. And one day he was talking about how his business never seemed to make any money. Okay, I've been told that I have an echo going on here, so I don't know what to do with that, except...
It's gone now.
Let's see. I am going to mute you for a second. Or if you can mute yourself, Nate, for a second.
I think so.
Okay, great. I hope that helps. Okay, so I'm going to continue. So when someone lies to a humanoid or does something wrong to them, let me know if that's better. Humanoids twist it around and look for what they've done wrong. They make themselves wrong and the other person right. I read that. A humanoid friend of mine had been in a business relationship with a partner for a long time. And one day he was talking about how his business never seemed to make any money. I said, there's something wrong here. You'd better have a look at the books. I think your partner's cheating you. He said, oh, he would never cheat me. I asked him, can you look into this? He decided to have a closer look at the books. And when his business partner found out what he was doing, the partner got really angry and made a lot of accusations against him. My friend's response was to judge himself hideously for being so disloyal as to question his partner. A month later, my friend found out his partner was cheating him. Hello, there you have it. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. If there's an echo, I can't really do anything about it. So hang in there, folks. I will maybe slow down if that helps, or maybe it'll go away on its own. A month later, my friend found out his partner was cheating him. My humanoid friend's response to the discovery that his partner was cheating him was to heap huge amounts of judgment on himself, whereas his human partner's response was, this is all your fault. If you weren't such a crappy partner, none of this would have happened. Yikes. Now that is totally a human response. This is all there is. So I don't know what to tell you about the echo. It might have something to do with the internet connection. Sorry about that, folks. Just keep reading, turn off the sound and read it yourself. All right, so humans do not have the slightest idea that they're infinite beings with infinite possibilities. Because they are finite beings, they think that they're finite beings. That's probably why. They don't believe in reincarnation. They think this is all there is. They say things like, you live, you die, and you become worm food. I talked to my stepdad, who was very definitely human, after he had a heart attack. I said, Dad, what was it like for you having that heart attack? Nobody had asked him that question. He said, well, I remember having the heart attack and standing outside my body looking at it. He trailed off and then started over again. Well, I had the heart attack and then I saw them putting the electrodes on my chest. Again, he stopped mid-sentence, waited a moment, and then started over again. Well, he finally said, I had the heart attack and then they put the electrodes on my chest and they zapped me. He could not have a reality in which he was out of his body watching these things occur. It was a great example of what happens to people when they can't have what doesn't fit their judgment of reality. His reality was that you were in a body and that's all there is. A human can never have anything that doesn't match the viewpoint. This is all there is. Humans do not believe in other possibilities. They do not believe in miracles or magic. The doctor and the lawyers and the Indian chiefs create everything. Humans create nothing. 47% of the population is humanoid, and they are the creators of everything that changes in this planet Earth reality. 52% is human. Yes, and the final 1%, someday we'll tell you about them. Humans hold on to things the way they are and never want anything to change. Sounds like the Matrix, doesn't it? Have you ever been to somebody's house where they haven't changed the furniture in 30 years? Human. Humans will live in the same neighborhood until it goes downhill. And rather than moving, they will put bars over their windows to keep the jailbirds out of their house. And who's looking out of the bars? Excuse me, you've just made yourself into a jailbird. Humans are the contractors who tear out all of the plants and trees so they can remodel a house. They kill everything in order to create. That's just the way it is. They say, we're going to kill everything and it will be fine. Humans sit in judgment of others because everything in their life is about judgment, decisions, force, and effort. It's the only place they create from. Think of somebody you know who's human. Think about it. Think about it. Feel the consciousness of him or her. Now feel the consciousness of a rock. Which one is lighter? The rock. The rock? Yeah, kind of weird, huh? Okay. There's more consciousness in the rock. So we hang out with humans for what reason? Now we all have human friends and family, but they sit in judgment of us and tell us how wrong we are for everything we do. Humans' judgments of us are compounded by the fact that we as humanoids tend to judge ourselves. So basically we tend to let other people's judgments, especially humans' judgments, tell us, they control our lives and tell us how we're supposed to live. It's like, you shouldn't do that because it's weird, or you shouldn't be that, or how could you know that? That's too weird. You have to be like me. So people, this is really important. Acknowledge that you are humanoid. What happens if you don't claim the totality of your humanoid capacity? If you don't understand and acknowledge that you are a humanoid, you try to create from a human point of view. You believe in and create a limited possibility for yourself. A human will say, show me the steps, and will diligently do each step one at a time. But you as a humanoid have the ability to zoom from A to Z, just like that. You can go bam, bam, and have anything you desire. But most of us do not claim that possibility for ourselves. We try to settle ourselves into a human existence. This is a mistake because humans are content with the status quo and don't want anything to change. And humanoids want to expand and be abundant and creative. And if you're interested in expansion and in having a life that is abundant, comfortable, and creative, stop trying to stuff yourself into a human mold. Acknowledge that you're humanoid and claim your capacity to join the ranks of the rich and famous. So humanoids, work, and money. We're almost done, and we're going a little bit over today, but I think it's worth it. I think that's having Nate on the call and the many things we're talking about is really turning this into a great webinar today. Humanoids don't work for money. One of the very interesting differences between humans and humanoids is that humanoids don't work for money. When a humanoid creates something or performs a service and someone else truly receives it, they feel complete. For them, that's the exchange. They say, wow, that's cool, and they're done. Their gift has been accepted. That's the end of the exchange. Their energy is complete on it. Money has nothing to do with a humanoid's creative capacity or what motivates them. The money is a byproduct. It's a secondary result. It's like shit. Gary Douglas, I love you. Most humanoids would prefer not to deal with money and not to put attention on it because it has nothing to do with their creative capacity. Now, for those of you who have done a lot of spirituality and spiritual stuff, I know that this is ringing true for you because it's like, you don't want to talk about money. You're like, you know, the money kind of like makes it kind of dirty for people who have studied spirituality because they're like, you know, the spiritual, you know, who needs money, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm going to continue reading now. For them, the work or the creation was the fun part. After they create something, they look around and ask, what else can I create? Creation moves the energy for them. All the energy in a humanoid universe goes into creation. If you're a humanoid, and we think you are, if you're reading this, you more than likely are, if you're on this call, it's important to be aware of this because unless you're willing to receive the byproduct of your work or service, you're not going to get the money. You're actually going to push it away. You'll stop money from coming in. You're going to refuse to collect it, even though it's due to you. You won't ask for it. When it's time to ask for money, humanoids go, would you like to pay me now or later? It's hard for them to collect money for their work because really all they want is for their gift to be received. Now, I know all of you know what I'm talking about because I have been here so many times. Luckily, access with this tool has helped me a lot with this, okay? So humans, on the other hand, are clear. They work for money. A human contractor or land developer will go into a place and destroy all the trees and everything that lives on the land and build something new made out of concrete because of the money he's going to get for it. He can do it for the money. It's like that song where they talk about they build a parking lot instead. Oh God, I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, it'll come to me. Humanoids get confused because they can't do things for money. Yet the point of view they grew up with is you only do things for money. And if you don't get paid for it, it's not worth doing. We try to fit into the human reality of money, and this causes us great difficulty. We have to understand that as humanoids, we have a different view, and we also have to be willing to receive the byproduct of our endeavors. We have to be able to ask for and receive money. So there you have it. May I have the money now, please? Yes. May I have the money now, please? Yes. May I have the money now, please? Yes. You have to be willing to say that. Are you there, Nate?
I'm here, yes, I'm here.
Yes.
And that is such a gift to have that presented because, like you said, it's not about judging humans. It's just the awareness of knowing that sometimes you run into people who operate from a different foundation even. You cannot see where they're coming from. You have no idea what they're doing because you would never do it that way. And it makes no sense to you. But then knowing this, like having this piece of information has been such a gift because there's so many situations where I can just say, oh, they're human. Okay, whatever. And then I know how to operate because of that, right? Because,
exactly.
Government employees.
Difference, yes.
No offense to anybody who's listening, but man, in Korea, government employees are so human.
And everyone knows what we're talking about because the thing is that humans just have a different way of functioning. Or if you believe that, if you ask, you can ask the question, is this person human or humanoid? Whatever feels lighter will be the answer. And usually you can tell because there's a certain heaviness in their reality. And if you try to speak to them from a creative point of view, they're just like,
oh, nothing creative, nothing out of the box, no flexibility, and also very little self-awareness or judgment. Like they'll park their car in your way. It's 100% their fuck up, and they won't even apologize. They'll be like, "What's the problem?" Like just no self-awareness or judgment.
Right, exactly. This is total awareness of what's going on around you, because then you don't judge yourself as harshly when you recognize, oh, wait a minute, this person is completely human.
Right.
Now let's let a lot of times you can just change your languaging. So you start to say, so what can we do about this? And you start to use we, then you can usually maneuver them to get them to do what you would like them to do for you.
Right.
That is a beauty of being a humanoid, because and once you understand that, once you have an awareness of where they function, then you can usually get what you want done.
And also,
okay,
knowing not to ask them to do things they're incapable of, like be creative. Like you just know, don't even give them that project because it's not going to happen.
Right. It's a waste of time and they'll do a bad job.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the humanoid thing is really simple. It's like apples and oranges. It's like a horse and a giraffe. They're just different. They're of the same species. They're mammals, but they're just different. They're fruits, but they're just different. And if you can start to acknowledge that, then you have humanoids who are desperately seeking human. So they're doing everything to be just like the humans, to fit in with the humans. So I'm sure you know people like that too, who deny their creativity. They want to just make sure that they're getting it right because they want to be accepted. They want to be acknowledged by their family, who are, like usually one parent is human and one parent is humanoid a lot of the time. Or if you're born into a family of humans, I hope this is like light bulbs are going off in your head and you're starting to recognize that you knew you were different all along, and that you just unfortunately chose to be raised by humans who gave you the foundation you need so that you can step out of it.
Sure. Yeah. And there are
another story about humanoids and humans that you wanted to share.
Well, there are some things about humans that occasionally humanoids might find sort of attractive, like a stability that humanoids a lot of times don't have. A friend of mine is very human, and he's very humanoid, and he started dating a girl. He's convinced she's human, but he kind of is attracted to that because she's not ditzy and all over the place. She's very like salt of the earth, sort of stable, has a job, regular savings account and all that kind of thing, which is boring to all of us. And a lot of us are not in that sort of realm. But for him, who's the complete opposite, he finds that attractive because it's something that he's not being, that he finds, he's missing. But instead of just choosing it for himself, he's looking for it in someone who down the road is going to really frustrate the hell out of him. That's
right. But he has to, a lot of times when we have our humanoid friends and we watch them make certain choices, in Access we have this thing called allowance, and Nate is giving you a great example of it. He has to take his course.
Right.
He has to discover it on his own. People always have choice, and a lot of times because he wants the relationship so bad, obviously, and he wants it to work so well, he just has to just stick with it until he realizes, wow, until it doesn't work for him anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Because we all have, the only way to get to awareness is to choose it.
But the other thing I was going to say about humanoids is, like, I've worked with both, and you got to start asking to work with humanoids because it makes your life easier. Like, ask for humanoids to show up in your life because, man, it's so much easier. Working with humans is, it's just so frustrating because you make suggestions about how to do it more easily or more efficiently, and they're like, well, no, we've never done it like that before. We're not going to change. You're like, you stop. Sorry.
Right. No, yeah, exactly. And in fact, when you are frustrated in life, when you're working with certain people, you really should ask the question, is this person human? Because if they're giving you the blues, then there's more than likely someone who just cannot function from the place that you function from, okay? And they can't see from your point of view. Their point of view is very rigid. They usually are wearing major blinders, and they're very, rigid and stuck, okay? And you're trying to create expansion, and they're just not having it at all, okay? So don't get frustrated, people.
No, don't. And I think that the key part of this is, like you said, you kind of underlined, was it's not to go into judgment of the humans. It's more to recognize where you're operating from, and so then to enable you to stop judging yourself for not sort of fitting in. And
Right.
as you know, he said in the book, the majority currently is human. And so a lot of us feel like, oh, we don't fit in, we're not in the majority. Why don't we match up? Why can't we be more like other people? But the point of this is just to say, you're not like other people, so quit judging yourself from not being that and just be a humanoid, because it's okay.
Right. And then in turn, you will start to create more in your life. You'll be surrounded by more humanoids. You're basically finding your real tribe, so that you can expand, so that you can continue to expand. And if you start to use a lot of these access tools, you'll discover that you know, in using the question, your world will start to shift and transform into more what you would like it to look like, instead of it being the matrix of what the matrix has decided it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
That program, that rigidness, does not have to be your life.
Yeah. And
anyone who created any magic will know that. It's
so hard to pinpoint which access tool has been the most helpful or created the most, because there have been so many that, they're so great. But question is at the basis of all of it. And just asking questions and being like living in the question, and simply like, what else is possible? Like that question alone, just, it's so good.
Yes. And how does it get any better than this?
Yes.
Also another really, really great question.
So many good ones.
So what, before we, I'm going to start to wind down, but I did want to bring up an exercise. Actually, it's a game. It's a money game that I got from another great a series of philosophy around life, which is an Abraham Hicks exercise. And this exercise is great too, because it works well with Access as well. Because in Access, we are always trying to expand our awareness. And this is a yummy money. So let's talk about money and how we have a tendency to put a glass ceiling around how much money we're willing to receive. When we're growing up, we have concepts that we pick up from our parents, and we have an idea of how much money is a lot of money. So for everyone, it's different. Someone who was born into a very rich family has an idea of what a lot of money is. Someone who was born into a middle-class family, another, and someone who's born into a lower income family has a different idea of what a lot of money is. So how do you bust that glass ceiling? This is a great exercise. It's called the money game. And basically you start out with $1,000 that is added to every day. And every day you spend that money. So basically I started this exercise a couple of days ago. Yesterday I had $3,000 and I had to spend that money. Now you say to yourself, okay, well, you know, what's the point of this exercise? The point of this exercise is not just necessarily to spend. The point of this exercise is to recognize what you could really do, what change you could really affect in the world if you had a lot of money. Now, it's a great idea to give it to you in increments, because it's slowly starting to expand your idea of what having a lot of money is, okay? So like, for example, the first day I had $500 go to the Red Cross, because the Red Cross is really an amazing organization, and I wanted to give $500 to the Red Cross. I had $350 go to this dent that I've had in my car for about a year that I want to take care of. And then I had $150 left, and I wanted to give $50 to 3 different individuals who I work with daily, and out of, you know, just as a tip, just to blow their minds around a tip, the idea of a tip and how much money a tip can be. So that was my first day. Now every day it keeps changing for me. Yesterday I gave $3,000. Yes, it was $3,000. I gave $3,000 to a organization called the Center for Responsible Nanotechnology, because I believe that nanotechnology is the future. And this is a company that is trying to be responsible with how they use the technology. So that was the next idea. But if you think about it, try doing this game. play it, you know, because once you have the perfect house, the car or the 2 cars, and the boat, if you'd like, or, you know, you've got your worldwide trip, what do you do with the money? What change can you affect on this planet? Imagine what you could do. Just imagine. I'm going to leave it there, and we'll talk about it again next week as I continue to do the exercise as well. Nate, please take your, you know, try the exercise yourself. Tell me, you know, we'll bring you back on while I'm here in Korea. That would be great. Yay. I love having you.
Me too. This is so much fun. I'll have to sort out the lighting and the shades and stuff next time. This is my first time.
Okay. No, it's no problem. Maybe. It's no problem.
Something else. Anyway, yeah, that's a great exercise. Thank you. I'm excited. And we never even touched on humanoids and money. I got so much. So much.
Well, we can talk about that again. If you'd like to join me next week, you can join me next week too, and we'll talk about some more of that. That'd be great. If you're available.
I think I am. I think I'll open it up.
Okay.
I'll call my secretary.
Okay. So everybody,
Nice.
I want to remind you, 10% of everything you make, put it away. Keep that, have that money. Try the money game exercise. Don't try it, just do it and see how it starts to bust your ideas. It starts to pop out that glass ceiling of what you think having a lot of money is, okay? All right, I know it's in your mind, but you're creating the energy of it, so you're gonna start to create more money in your life because of it, okay? All right, now we want to remember that we want to put that $5, $10, $20, you want to put it everywhere in all public places that you go. That's another thing that we do. And the last but not least, we're going to do the money dance. So get ready to do your money dance. Okay, so this is the situation. Out of the blue, you get an envelope, or you check your bank account and you find a check for a shitload of money, or whatever amount of money is like so much money to you, just as like surprise out of nowhere. And what are we gonna do? We're gonna do, oh, it's not, come on, kick in. There it is, the money dance. Woo! Do the money dance, everybody. Hey, I got the money. Woo! Because you're so excited and you get that excitement going so that the world knows, yes, I have money. Woo-hoo! Okay, people, we'll see you next week on my Yummy Money webinar. Oh, yeah.